1970, we sure we did live for front. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did do the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. We work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode, another day for the UNIBEN Alumni Series. We have always brought to your screen every Wednesday new episode, different conversation, different experiences lived by alumni of the great University of Benin. Men and women have gone through the institution. They've come on this platform and they've talked about their time at the University of Benin and how it has shaped what they currently do or what they will do going forward. And today's episode, we have an award-winning sports journalist. He is the founder. He calls himself the founding father, which is also being referred to by other of his contemporaries of the Association of Campus Journalists in UNIBEN. He actually was at the helm of affairs to put that association in place. He is Ayoola Adeleke. Thank you very much, brother, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm excited to be on this platform as well.
Yeah, good to have you here. Also, he is the publisher of platinumnewsng.com. Let's start from ACG, the Association of Campus Journalists. Let's commence from there. What necessitated that? Did you notice any gap that made you think, oh, it would be nice if we have a collective of journalists on campus and we can do things as a unit, as a group? What necessitated that?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm a product of a campus journalist to start with, from my NC days, Federal College of Education in Ogun State, precisely. And, when I got to University of Benin, I discovered that what we have there is totally different to what we have in my former school. And in the former school, there's what we still have that is called the NUCJ. So that is more like the umbrella on which, under which all universities, polytechnic and college of education campus journalists, sit. So when I got to University of Benin, that was the first thing I went to search for. That, is there a campus press club here on campus so that I can continue my campus journalism life? But I was told, I can only join JCI and what have you. That there's nothing like campus journalists association on campus. Okay, it's fine. The gap I saw there is the fact that we have many bloggers on campus. And, blogging is totally different to journalism. Any blogger can just pick up anything and just write whatever is not verified. But for journalism, journalism is about publishing verified and authentic publication, be it news, be it feature, be it whatever. So I felt there is a need for us to grow that as well, because I'm very sure there are many students in university who want to be journalists, like being in mass communication department, but because of either their cutoff mark and what have you, they couldn't make it, and they are in other departments, especially in faculty of education. So I thought of establishing one so that everybody can come together, and beyond just blogging, you can also earn benefit from being a member of NUCJ. That is, if you have our chapter in University of Benin, we can be a member of the NUCJ, which has a lot of benefit for students. down to international level. So that was what informed the idea to bring about the ACJ University of Benin.
Okay, thank you for that. You mentioned that you had your NC in Ogun State, if I'm correct. Yeah, you just mentioned that. What made you pick the University of Benin to further your education? What influenced that choice?
Okay, University of Benin, beside the fact that it's a popular school, in those days, I'm someone
Till
I
now,
love.
I think it's still popular till now. Yeah,
Yeah, when I mean in those days, while growing up, one
yeah,
of the
good.
schools that we want to mention whenever they are talking about schools, you mention University of Benin, University
Yeah.
of Port Harcourt, you mention OAU, and So I'm a very strong person. When I mean strong, I like to throw myself out and adventure. So I'm adventurous. And when I left my NC, I tried getting to some schools in the southwest. For reasons best known to them, they didn't give me admission despite meeting their cutoff and all that. So I was like, okay, which other school can I try? After trying 2 schools in the southwest and they didn't give me admission, then something came like an inspiration. Mad Melon and Mountain Black, if you remember them very well.
Yeah.
So you remember that song they sang that I want to go to
Go to
Uniport. I
UNIBEN.
want to go
Okay,
to
for more
Uniport.
education. Yeah.
University of Benin. The University of Benin just came to my head. I was like, oh, this
Really?
thing. I've never had any relative been to University of Benin before. Even when I told them that I was going to University of Benin, they were shocked. They were like, why? And in the southwest, majority of people, what they believe is that if you are not Yoruba, if you are not Hausa, you are Igbo. So anything they call it Igbo. So you say, what are you going to do in Igbo land, you big boy? Why would you want to go to Igbo land? But I chose University of Benin, and as God would have it, I wrote my post-UTME as a direct entry student actually, and I gained admission that same year. So when I gained admission, I saw that this school is more than what it is, because even before I wrote the post-UTME, I did some, Google search about University of Benin, and I saw a whole lot of interesting stories. I saw that is where former governor of Lagos State also graduated from. Fashola's son, and I was like, okay, I also want to be the governor of my state one day. Let me also go to school where governors have graduated from.
Yeah, okay. When you came for the post-UME, I don't know if you have been to the university before then, but your first entrance into the university, what was the impression like for you? What did you notice? What did you take away with?
Okay. I so much appreciate aesthetic so much, and when I was coming from Lagos, the vehicle I boarded, I was pleading, I was begging the driver, please, when you get to UNIBEN, let me know. I want to see what the gate looks like. Honestly, as I said earlier, I love aesthetics so much. I would never go to any school where their gate is just flat. I want to see that vibe that this is university and all that. And that man somehow he forgot. But the day I was to write the post-UTME, when we got to I stayed in Ekenwa for that night, a day before my post-UTME. So I even thought it was the University of Ekenwa. Sorry,
The
I thought
Ekenwa campus.
Ekenwa campus. So when I got to the main campus itself, I saw the building, like the gate, what it means. I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. I want to enter this same place. And from the main gate there, you saw those statues that we later translated to many things. Okay, when you come to UNIBEN, you come with pride. After one session, So it caught my attention, and I saw how the school was back then. Really gave me the vibe that this is university. But I must be sincere with you, that main gate, actually blew my attention away.
Okay. You just mentioned that you spent a night at Ekenwa. You actually thought it was going to be at the Ekenwa campus. And interestingly, the Ekenwa campus houses our mass communication faculty right now, because we now have a mass communication faculty at Ekenwa campus. Why you have been a journalist even in your NCE days, you had a flair for media and all. Why did you not choose mass communication, something in line with what you had flair for? Then later you went to education. So how did you get to education?
Okay. Basically, I've been practicing journalism since 2009. I would say, but officially 2012. Like when I mean officially, okay, I'm now recognized. But from 2009 to that period, I've been running it, and people have at least people see me for in events and all that. Why didn't I go for mass communication any longer? While in secondary school, I actually went to Department of Arts because I wanted to be a journalist. Two things were at the back of my mind: being a mass comm student or a law student. I so much love talking about something, like sharing ideas with people. More like telling people about what people are suffering, like trying to be like I don't want to call it now a crusader for something. So that actually brought the idea of journalism before. But at the long run, I discovered that journalism is not about you going for mass communication precisely, especially after my NCE days. I discovered that I could go for another course and still, operate or still practice my journalism. Journalism is passion. And I also discovered that I have passion for teaching, to educate people. And I was like, okay, there's a way I can do it. I can be an education student and still run journalism side by side. I can marry the two together and, make it something big. So that was, I just feel like, okay, let me just go for education. I can still do journalism, maybe by 1 year course and what have you, especially since I've been into it before.
Yeah. Okay. UNIBEN, we've known UNIBEN to be home of gladiators in the media space. Someone like Prince Uduka Boybona, Arise News, even in the sports circle, Chief Swore, who is the Pidgin English commentator, Cecilia Morigbe. These are great people in the sporting circle who are products of the University of Benin. For you, what do you think that the institution instilled in you that helped to you were a sports you were a journalist even before coming to the show, but did the university add any flavor to your sporting knowledge or to your journalism knowledge?
Well, University of Benin added a lot, I must say, beyond even journalism, but specifically for journalism. There is something about journalism. Number one thing is, after your passion, the next thing that comes is are you bold? Do you have that strong mind to want to run journalism? Because if care is not taken, one might just find himself or herself, in a very difficult or critical situation as a journalist. And journalism also, as I said earlier, it entails you being someone who is bold, so that you can be able to report the unreported or probably the sidelined stories. And the University of Benin is a school that, number one, UNIBEN will humble anybody. University of Benin will humble anybody. So when you get to University of Benin, you will surely meet people who are more, if you are more eager than you. If you are street, you will see people who are street than you. If you are whatever, when you get to University of Benin, it has everything. And I must say that getting to University of Benin, especially living in Ekosodin, I encountered so many things. I stayed in Ekosodin for 7 years. I encountered so many things. And, all those things actually shaped me, like they helped me even in this field. It's very rare, except I don't have interest in doing it. I don't want to know how strong the story is. What I always say is, me will go UNIBEN. Like, will you be? So that statement of, no school where me go, UNIBEN. I don't know if you go UNIBEN, me I come street, may come they scare me. If it happen. So it actually helped my journalism, work a lot, to the level that I did a story once upon a time. I think I did that story in 2019 or 2020, and I was called by different people. As a matter of fact, I was on the verge of being arrested by the DSS. I was told that the story you did is not this, you have to pull it down. And I told them, who are you to tell me to pull down my story? Like, now you get a website for me, all because what I passed through University of Benin. I know that there is nothing that can happen out there that can be more, bigger than that. So UNIBEN actually added to my boldness and also my open eye. Let me put it that way.
Okay. You were once part of Bender Insurance. I can actually even see the flag behind you. Can you walk us through how you you joined the media team of Benin Insurance?
Well, okay. University, I was going to mention UNIBEN again. Benin Insurance, something happened when they were in the relegation, especially when they were in Samuel Egbemudia Stadium. So I was at the UNIBEN Sports Complex. They had one of their NNL games then. And what I saw there, when I came to Benin, actually, I must say, I can boldly say it, that I changed a lot about sports journalism in Benin City. Yeah, for who care to listen to that. And one of those things I did was, when I got to the stadium, to the sports center, I discovered that the media presence of the team was kind of poor. Like, you don't get to know what is in the way it is in the western part of the country. Like, almost there should be vibes around this team and what have you. It wasn't there. So I was with a friend then, Honorable. I told him, I said, this team, if only I can get there one day, I'm going to change the face of this media. That was what I told him then. Then I didn't apply for anything. I was just doing my work until when the former permanent secretary of the Sports Commission, who is also a director at the Sports Commission now, Mrs. Chikewe Sabina, she met me in Ilorin, one of those youth games, and she was like, "You are in Benin?" I said, "Yes." Okay. Then we greeted. I interviewed her. When I got back to Benin, they called me if I could come around to work with them. I actually worked in the office of the deputy governor, not Benin Insurance directly, but because they were in charge, but because they were in charge of sports then, and they know me to be a sport journalist, so I was asked to to join the team. I started with Edo Queens, but after about a few time, I had to move to Benin Insurance so that I can give some a facelift into the media. Which I think so that was how I got to Benin Insurance FC.
Okay, that's quite revealing. You have been covering major sporting events for almost 20 years now, if you calculate when you said you started. For your own assessment, which tournament do you think has been the toughest tournament when it comes to logistics for you? Which has been the toughest tournament for you covering it?
Yeah, I would say that was the last Nations Cup I covered, the Africa Cup of Nations, the Morocco 2025
Okay.
I wasn't going to go again. I had my mind to stop the journey because this part of the world, especially in Edo State, it's very, very difficult to come by sponsors, to brands that you can work for. They don't seem to understand too much about it, unlike what you see in other parts, especially in Lagos and the Southwest, where a brand can say, "Okay, I want you to project my logo, my brand name on any of your content." Here, we try to tell them more about it, but they wouldn't hear. And in 2025, I had already pinned my mind not going again, although I was accredited, but I said I wasn't going to go because the cash wasn't there. Flight ticket alone was about 1.6 million naira, and you have to accommodation. That place no be Nigeria. No be place where you see 10,000 naira accommodation here. That one is different. So totally. So when I got there, I actually faced a lot beyond the fact that it was the winter period. Where the cold there was, we are 3 degree, 4 degree to some point in time minus. One. But those things affected me a lot because I didn't have my accommodation of my own. And beyond accommodation, you also need to move around the city. And when you start converting those amounts you use in cab and what have you, it's totally expensive.
Is there any support? Sorry, is there any support from government, or is totally a private venture? Is it totally up to you as journalists, as freelancers, or so? Or do you get support from maybe the Sports Commission or from anywhere?
Well, I think the only time I got support, when I mean support from the government, was in 2022. That was my first trip to Morocco, and it was I was assisted by the then deputy governor, who actually gave me about 60-70% of my logistics, flights, and covered some days of my accommodation. So ever since then, it has always been individual thing When you even write to them, they will tell you that's not part of our plans and all that. So you can't. They will even ask you, what is this going to bring to the government?
Okay. Okay, let's talk about sports media in Nigeria generally. Since almost 2 decades that you have been into sports media, what's the biggest challenge for young sports reporters that you think in this digital age? What do you think are the challenges they face the most?
Yeah, well, there are lots. There are a lot, but let me just mention like 2 or 3. The first here is this: in Nigeria, Nigerians don't love media. They don't love media. The only thing they love in Nigeria or they appreciate in Nigeria is to be their praise singer. To praise them. Oh, they've done this, they've done that. Aside from that, they don't want you to know any other thing about what is happening around them. So that's a very big challenge for media in the country, because people who don't want to make you report them. It will be difficult to get information. And you as a freelancer, especially those who don't even have anything, who don't even have anybody, there's little you can do. You can only grumble and you move on. So that is number one. Number two is that logistically, it is difficult for reporters in Nigeria to want to make headway. And I will explain that very briefly. Imagine a reporter traveling from Lagos. You want to go to Kano to go cover Kano Pillars match. You can't go and return in 2 days. And for you to even go and return in 2 days, you must use flights. That is if there will be no, rescheduling of your flight, and you know what that costs. So when you get to Kano Pillars to cover the game, what are you going to make in return? Not about from Kano Pillars FC, but the value of the league. We want to buy content from you about the league. Unlike when you are in Europe, you can easily travel between Spain and France. You can travel between Austria and Germany. So that is another big factor for Nigerian media reporters. Then lastly, I would say security. You don't want to just wake up and want to embark on a journey and journey that you are not even sure of what will happen between 20 meters of your journey. Then let me add one more, please. One more I want to add is freelancers, especially. I know it's easier to gather money to get equipment, and you need equipment to shoot good content.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about your position with Silverbird Redeem FM. You are the head of sports in Redeem FM. I just want to know, because this is an area I used to be in. We did sports analysis, I think, in 2008, and we were like, the followership was quite massive then, because there were this whole today generation of we have all the news on our phones and all that. So it was quite different in those days when we were the mainstay, we were the main source of news for people. So for you today, how is the followership like, especially when you are competing with digital platforms that bring out this news on our phones every second? So how is the followership like, sports followership for you at Silverbird?
Yeah, I would say it's massive. Big shout out to my followers on radio within 93.7 FM. I would say it's massive, actually. Probably, maybe they are not social media savvy. I would say majority of them are not, because most times when you put out content on your Twitter handle or your Instagram or Facebook and ask them to engage, you hardly see engagement from them. But when it comes to them listening and calling in, on the show, it's massive. And this is what brought about that. This our field is a field of creativity. You have to move with time. So if you're not moving with time, definitely time will pass by someone. So what I do is I don't just go to radio or TV and just read out news that people have already seen before my show time. What I do is I come out from an angle where they will even ask me, are you sure the same match where we watch and you watch? So, I come out from such an angle, analytic point of view. I look at things that people may not even know. As I can decide to watch a football match and start to count how many passes that leads to a goal. I can start to count how many throw-ins were made before the first goal was scored. So these are the things that I are common with on my show. And also I do make calls to athletes, administrators. I engage them, I interview them. So it helps my followership base, on radio.
Okay. Lastly, I know you have mentioned a couple of things why what UNIBEN imbibed in you, what you learned from the institution. Do you have other values that UNIBEN instilled in you that is very helpful for your day-to-day activities, that is helpful in your profession? Are there other values that the University of Benin has added to you?
Yeah, exposure, I would say. Honestly, I must be sincere. Yes, I'm Lagos born, grew up in Lagos, even beyond my formative years. But getting to University of Benin, I got exposed to so many things, probably things that are not there in our own oversight there. So, and that exposure has helped me a lot, because even with that, when you are in the Southwest, you barely want to travel towards this side, except if you are a journalist. Even journalists, you barely see many of them come around here to come and cover. So I was at the heartbeat of the state. And thankfully, University of Benin, the fact that while working, still schooling then, I had some friends who introduced me to some association, and those associations were helpful as well. Like most times when you want to go to cover some event, they can reach out to you. Okay, this is specifically what we want, and that opened my eyes to what a pitching idea about a coverage could be. So them alone helped me in writing proposal to people, because if I had not, worked with those guys, it wouldn't have been there. Then also, University of Benin, as I mentioned earlier, UNIBEN humbles you, and it also gives you this orientation that you have to be the best, because UNIBEN is not second to any other school. So that's the truth. I will keep on saying that. So for me, I think it gave me that mentality that you just have to be the best. We call it UniBest after you have been bent already. Some people call it UniBend, UniStress, and Unis, but the UniBest is the part which we pick. So it helped me a lot in in some areas.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for re-echoing me that UNIBEN is second to none. It has been wonderful speaking with you, Ayoola. Thank you for creating time to be part of the show today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. I've been speaking with Ayoola Adeleke, a sports journalist and the publisher of PlatinumNewsNG.com. Continue to subscribe to our channel, bringing more exclusive interviews of UNIBEN alumni. Bye for now.